Hey man, I'm Jusko from ProbMoney.com. 2024, can you friggin' believe it? It is just about here, or maybe it is here, depending on when you are watching this video. And it is time, once again, as we do every quarter, for another exciting edition of What's in My Wallet, where I tell you what is in this stack of credit cards that I may be using in this quarter, why I'm using them, what they're good for, all that good stuff. Maybe you want to get some of these credit cards for yourself, or maybe you don't know what's going on with them, so maybe this will be helpful to you. Let's do it. All right, I always start off with the big three, which means groceries, gas, restaurants. Let's start with groceries. In the first quarter of 2024, I will be using, let me just see if it's here because they still put the numbers on the friggin' front, the Chase Freedom Flex, which is giving 5% on grocery store purchases in the first quarter, also 5% on fitness clubs and self-care and spa services. But for me, I will be using it for grocery stores probably exclusively, which means I'll be able to get that 5% on up to $1,500 worth of grocery store purchases over the 3-month period from January through March. Now, normally for my groceries, I use the AAA, I can't remember which one this is called, but it is one of the AAA Visa cards that gives 5% on groceries and has good cash back on other categories as well. Daily Advantage, I think that's what it's called. So this is what I usually use for my grocery store purchases. This will be like the backup if I go over in this quarter, because I will take those Chase Ultimate Rewards points sort of over the cash back on this one, even though ultimately I don't know if I'll use them for anything different. And then as a super backup, I guess you could say, I also do have the Blue Cash Preferred, or I'm an authorized user on my wife's Blue Cash Preferred, where you get 6% on grocery store purchases, which obviously is more than 5%, but she pretty much uses that, and I let her max that out, and every so often I will use it, but she pretty much does the groceries and gas on that, and she doesn't like thinking about all this stuff in the same way I do. So that is like a backup for me. That's groceries. Let's do restaurants next, because that is a spending category for me that is probably much larger than it should be, but hey, we all have our vices. So in the first quarter, it will be the Discover It card that is getting a lot of my purchases at restaurants, because it is offering 5% in the first quarter on restaurant purchases, also 5% on drugstore purchases, but for me, it'll probably be all restaurants that will go on here. Now, I have to say that it's very possible that I might even spend over $1,500 at restaurants in the first quarter. So as a backup, it will probably be the Chase Sapphire Preferred, only 3%, but I don't have another way to get more than 3% unless I used my Citi Custom Cash Card for restaurants, which I normally would do, but in this quarter I'm going to use it for gas because of the fact that the Discover card is offering the 5% on restaurants. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, I have a lot of other credit cards that also would give me 3% on restaurants, so this is just one of many, but as long as I have this Chase Sapphire Preferred, I might as well use it, and I might as well get some more points out of it in the Chase program whenever I have the opportunity. So as I just said, the Citi Custom Cash then will become my gas credit card for the first quarter of 2024. I normally use this as my restaurant card when I don't have like a special offer like from the Discover card, because this card lets you get 5% in the category where you spend the most each billing cycle on up to $500 worth of purchases in that category. So this usually is my restaurant card. For the next 3 months, I will use it as my gas credit card, and as a backup then I would have the Verizon Visa, which gives 4% on gas station purchases, so pretty well covered for gas in quarter one. So that's pretty nice coverage, 5% on probably most purchases in the big three as far as I'm concerned, grocery, gas, and restaurants in quarter one. So let's look at what else also I might be carrying into this quarter, but these ones are kind of secondary to that stuff, so I'm feeling pretty good. Obviously the Amazon Visa, if you're an Amazon Prime member like me and you do a lot of purchasing on Amazon, this one is nice to have for the 5% back in rewards on your Amazon purchases. In the last quarter of 2023, they actually gave me a special offer of 5% at restaurants, so I ended up getting or using this card a lot more. Usually it's only the Amazon card, but I was happy to get that extra. And then of course there is the Target card. If you shop at Target, you can get a 5% discount on all of your purchases at Target. If you're not using this card, you're paying 5% more than everyone else. And then we've got the other catch-alls or backups depending on how you look at it. First is Citi Double Cash, which I generally use as my backup for anything that doesn't fall into a higher reward category, so 2% cash back on all purchases. Now I do have even backups for that one in terms of catch-alls. There's the Capital One Venture X, where you get 2 points per dollar, which you can use on travel purchases, but because I'm getting a lot of either free travel or free points from this card, of course it has an annual fee, so they're not free exactly, but because of that I do use this sometimes as well to continue to get Capital One points. I have found Capital One's travel for hotels I kind of like better oftentimes than some of the other cards using their hotel portals, so I do like having the points from that. And then obviously with this card, because you are getting a travel credit, or however you want to look at it in the terminology, you are going to feel good about having extra points from Capital One anyway. The Wells Fargo Active Cash, another potential backup. I've never even used this card. I don't think they gave it to me when the Wells Fargo Propel they got rid of and said, we're going to send you this card instead. So I never really asked for it, but they sent it anyway. And then I also have the Wells Fargo Autograph Visa, which gives 3% back in points, or cash back is the way I look at it on a lot of categories. Still don't use this card a ton because there's like almost always some other card I have that's going to give me more than 3%, but you got 3% on a ton of good categories with this one. Now the American Express Platinum will get some love from me in the first quarter, not so much because there's something I really want to buy with it, but because I usually take advantage of the Fine Hotels and Resorts program, go down to Miami Beach. I've done that for the last couple years and stayed at one of the hotels that has, you know, some kind of deal with American Express, and then you get, you know, $100 credit there or whatever else happens at the particular hotel you're at. It is really not something that is probably such a great deal. It is totally a treat for myself as we are sort of in the middle of winter and you know, I'm getting seasonal affective disorder and all that kind of stuff. Take a vacation and usually use the Platinum. Have done this for a couple years now. With global warming, I don't get the seasonal affective disorder quite as bad because now it doesn't get as cold as it used to. But anyway, I will use this probably in the first quarter. The Apple Card I continue to have. I really don't use it except for my Apple TV Plus purchases, so this card really never is in my wallet and it really doesn't get used for a whole lot. It will be interesting to see what happens with the Apple Card. I can't even tell if that's the front or the back. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this because of the fact that Apple and Goldman Sachs are going to be parting in the near to maybe not so near future. But anyway, it will not be a Goldman Sachs card, and will they change how this card looks? If they can change the whole card around, we will see, but that will be interesting. Next up, the Citi Premier card. I think I'm probably gonna ditch this card this year. It has a $95 annual fee, and it does have a lot of good rewards, but a lot of good rewards that you can get on other cards for free. So I got a great bonus on this card when I first got it, but I really don't use it very much, even though it has pretty good rewards, and paying the $95 annual fee doesn't make a whole lot of sense anymore. But I usually like to keep a card for at least a couple years before I close it, so that the credit card companies don't hate me and they will approve me in the future. So I have to see when I actually got that Citi Premier card. And then finally I got the Curve card, which was supposed to be the one card to rule them all. Put all your other cards on this and then you can you know, maximize your rewards and even get extra rewards, all that kind of stuff. This company looks like it is not long for the United States. It seems like it does fine over in the UK, but in terms of this country, doesn't seem like this is working out. Things are getting worse and worse with this card. It never really took off here. They never could get every credit card processing network on board. So I still have this card and unfortunately have a credit line attached to it, but I think that's probably going to go away sometime in the near future. And then finally a card I never use but I keep because it's my oldest one, and that is the Amex Everyday card. I think I used it once like a year and a half ago just to keep it open so they wouldn't close it on me. But otherwise, that is it for me. So I got a lot of 5% categories this quarter. I am ready to go after something new potentially in this quarter. I am now under 524 with Chase, and I'm just getting a little itchy, or got a little itch that needs a scratch, and so that may be happening in the first quarter as well. Anyway, I would love to hear what is in your wallet, what you are using in the first first quarter, put that in the comments section below. Otherwise, I thank you for watching. And as always, please go to proudmoney.com where we do credit card reviews. We talk personal finance, we talk deals, and all sorts of other fun stuff too. If you are not going to go to the website or you're not going to leave a comment, you might want to watch this video.